Welcome to Curriculum Night 2020. I'm so glad you're here. Before we get started, let's see what we're going to learn about tonight. We're going to learn about how to make contact with me. We're going to learn what curriculum is covered in your student's course. You're also going to find out how to navigate my Canvas page. You're going to learn more about my learning expectations for different learning modules. That's a lot of learning words. And finally, we're going to talk about the grading practices. All right, so how to make contact with me. I'm always reachable through email at jennifer.henderson@cherokeek12.net. I try to be as quick as possible to turn around to answer questions. If your student would like to have some tutoring, some face-to-face tutoring, we can do that, because who doesn't love tutoring? So all you'll need to do is go to our Canvas homepage. So I'll click on that and take us to the Canvas homepage. Give it a second to come up. Okay, and so here's what our Canvas homepage looks like. And if you scroll down, there's a button called Schedule an Appointment. You just click that button, and it takes you to a calendar. And so you can click on the calendar days, and it will show you tutoring slots that are available for that day. So I highly recommend grabbing one of those, especially if you're having trouble with a particular concept. All right. So what curriculum is being covered in class? So the purpose of an AP course is, AP Stats course, is to introduce the students to the major concepts and tools for collecting, analyzing, and drawing conclusions from data. There's 4 major themes. Being able to select a statistical method, being able to analyze and describe patterns and trends, and being able to use probability and simulation to explore random phenomena, and being able to argue a point and use statistics to back up your argument to support your claim. And so this course is the same as the first level course in the college level statistics course. So it matches it very, very well. Now, for our course, we do a little bit different. A lot of courses tend to be heavy lecture, but I'm really working on in this course to do something called experience first, formalize later. What that means is students, I like them to work collaboratively. We're being very careful during this time on our collaboration, but I like them to talk to each other so they can think and discuss and construct their own understanding of new content before I tell them the notes, and it really gives them a scaffolding to build their knowledge upon. So what does this look like in the classroom? So in the classroom, the goals at the beginning, the goals of the lesson are made clear in learning targets. At the beginning of every unit, your student will receive an agenda. And in the agenda, they'll have the date and kind of the topic that we're talking about. And here's our learning goals. So they receive this and they all have it. So this is what they are expected to know when they walk out of the classroom. So I've picked a lesson on finding values for normal distribution, and we'll follow that lesson all the way through. So this is the first part they'll get in their agenda. Next, we begin every day with an activity. So this activity is Will Marty Make It Back to the Future? So we try to wrap it in some sort of context to get the learning within a story. And so usually what I send them off to do is do some things on their own, and a lot of the beginning stuff is accessible to them, and then they hit a point where we have to stop, and we're going to do something called a debrief, and we're going to go back and we're going to add notes to stuff. And this is our formalizing. So this is a good example of our formalizing. So we debrief the activity and we connect the activity to new vocabulary in our unit and definitions and any formulas and algorithms that they may need as they go forward in AP statistics. So all the black work here in the black pen would be what a student would do. Then we go back, and I highly encourage them to use a different color pen. And we go back in and we draw in notes of important information. So this was really important. If you want full credit, this is what I expect to see if on a test. So this is formalizing their information, and these are how they're receiving their notes. So it's not traditional lecture notes, how maybe many math classes have been. Then after the debrief, we summarize the big ideas in every lesson. These directly relate to the learning targets on their agenda. So these relate to the learning targets on the agenda here. Here we learn, and these boxes are great for review. When you're trying to review for a test, a lot of information is on these boxes in each lesson. So this is your takeaway of finding table A to get under the normal curve, your formula that you need, and the important reminders when you're drawing a picture. And then finally, every lesson has a check your understanding, and in this they have the ability to, in a new context, apply their learning to see how they're understanding what we just went through. So pretty much every lecture every lesson is structured this way. I'm working very hard with digital learning so they kind of get some of the experience. And so we're doing our best in our current situation, but we're all getting a little bit of this EFFL, or experience first, formalize later, in as many lessons as I can, and as safely as I can. All right, how are we going to navigate the Canvas homepage? So each week is organized into modules. So on the Canvas homepage, I'm going to come down to modules. So, and I put them in the unit. So we have a unit, and then we have modules, and I try to label them very clearly so everybody knows which day they're under. So we can look at A day for this week. So I'll click it, and in here we have our lesson date and topic, what we should be able to do. Here's my plan and the assignments. So really what they're looking at is this red box all the way to the right. So I try to tell them who's doing what. Now this week we had review, so there was less of these learning objectives because the learning was already completed at this point. But normally their learning objectives from their agenda would be right here. So we had a Unit 2 review, so we have the review and a FRQ I wanted them to work on. And then they got the key for both of those and a key for a previous lesson. We had an optional Teams call that was a review session for questions. And then they would come in and take their test, and it's all right here. So everything they're looking for is on the right-hand side. This is all the kind of supporting information, but all the information on the right-hand side is their lessons that they'll be working on. Any videos, everything will be there. Okay, so we've had a couple different teaching models right now. So we have done full face-to-face. Everything. So really the takeaway is that right-hand column is where all the lessons are going to be. Everything will be in Canvas, everything that they need, for whether we're full face-to-face, hybrid, or full digital. So I encourage them to go to Canvas to look for everything because they need to check Canvas daily. Okay, that's where I have the outline for their work, everything that they're expected to do, any videos they've got to watch. They should if it's indicated it should be watched prior to class, it needs to be done prior to class because it's supporting what we're about to do. Anytime if we're face-to-face and you miss a day, everything's on Canvas. It's all right there. It's easy to access. It's kind of one-stop shopping. And I'm highly encouraging students to check their email daily. This is really important because a lot of information is going out, and they might need to set notifications for their school email. And this is really good practice for seniors who are about to go to college next year, because that's how the college is going to contact you too, is through your school email. So grading practices. These align directly with Cherokee County. This came from them. So this is not something that I've made up. It's something that the county wants us to do. So 40% of the grade comes from a formative assessment. That's any classwork or homework or quizzes that we take. And then 60% of it comes from unit tests. The county has instituted this grade and code this year. And so what this means is instead of just putting a 0 in for a missing assignment, there's some other clues to give you more information on what's actually going on with an assignment. So I could excuse an assignment, and if I do that, I'll put in an EX for excuse. If a 0 goes in, it means the student turned in the assignment but earned 0 credit. They didn't know any of the answers. Is really what a 0 means. A 1 is the student was present but didn't turn something in. So that's when you're more likely to see this, and it'll be late, but they can still turn it in. A 2 is the assignment is incomplete and cannot be graded as is. And usually what that is they've done the assignment and they took a picture and they submitted the picture to me on Canvas, but I can't open the picture, or the picture's not, that I wasn't able to grade it, or they submitted the wrong picture. That's pretty common too, because I know they're submitting a lot of pictures through Canvas at this point for all of their classes. So they would just need to put in the correct picture and let me know that they did that so I can go back and grade it. And a score of 3 is the student was absent and will get full credit when the assignment's turned in. It just gives you a little more information about what's going on in the classroom. Well, that reached all of our learning targets for the night. I hope I answered some questions that you might have. If you don't, please let me know and I'll do my best to answer them. Thanks for coming tonight. Bye.